Meow, meow, everybody, I'm Cantonese Cat. Hey everyone, Cantonese Cat here. This is Mara on the Wall Street. Who's the fairest cat of them all? It's me, Cantonese Cat. Monthly chart here for Mara. You're seeing that it's been going sideways here for quite some time. A lot of the technicals are still building up very bullish here, both in terms of the short term and also in terms of long term. This is a little bit of a different look compared to clean spark. I'll show you on the weekly as to why I say that is. Now, first thing first, I did mention that it did have kind of like a ascending triangle look to it. The month closed, and so far is closing just the way I like it. Doesn't mean that it has to necessarily break out the next month and just break above, not necessarily, but so far this is still, probability-wise speaking, because I see an ascending triangle here, this is still relatively favorable. Generally, these ascending triangles tell you that it's been eating supply above for months now, and demand underneath has been getting stronger and stronger. And it's going, price kind of basically going through sideways, and the volume's kind of going down, telling you that there's consolidation here, which is exactly what you're feeling. A lot of consolidation. And it can be pretty brutal for people who are seeing Bitcoin just kind of going up over the last few months and more just kind of consolidate sideways. Not surprising, I'm not even going to put any indicators here, but not surprising that Mara gets stuck here at this level for months number 1, 2, and 3. The reason why is because there's a lot of price history over here. As a matter of fact, if you look at the volume shelves here, you can see that this is a pretty big volume shelf that price is kind of stuck here for the last 3 or 4 months, because there's a lot of price over here has been traded hands, particularly over these months over here. There's a lot of price history over here. If you're able to break about this price history, I think the resistance is going to be a lot less, even though there's a lot of price history up here too. I just think that the volume majority has been traded hands down here. There's a potential for it to break up to like the 40 or 50 zone once it's able to break above the current level right around here, which I would say is probably ranging from like 30, 31 all the way down to the bottom part right around here, which is around 15. It did bounce from one volume shelf to another. It just kind of bouncy balls over here between these two volume shelves over here. Right now, price is kind of closed at the bottom of this top volume shelf, and it's formed a nice little. It's not a perfect look, but a nice little hammer over here. We'll see what it does. I like this ascending triangle look. I like the fact that the price is close within the top part of this volume shelf rather than just keep on bouncing back and forth down here. And I like the fact that it's already spent 3 months trying to eat above the supply over here, so it tells me that the resistance above is getting weaker and weaker and weaker every month. We'll see what happens next. Let's pull up some of the other indicators here. One thing that I would like to pull up is the Bollinger Bands. You can see that we're currently having expansion of the Bollinger Band to the upside, to the downside. It's still, I continue to expect it to continue to expand. The 20-month moving average is still pointing up. And the price so far is riding along the upper Bollinger Band to go up higher potentially. More than likely or not. And because price has already gone sideways, because it's respecting the upper Bollinger Band here, I don't necessarily expect Mara to have any major corrections down much further. It can still go sideways, and as you remember, as I drew the ascending triangle, it could potentially still consolidate for another couple of months. I would not be surprised if it keeps on doing some bouncy stuff here, but it doesn't have to. The key thing is that the resistance above is getting weaker, and I don't mind waiting. I don't really mind waiting for another month or two if it ends up doing that. I mean, Bitcoin's also a little bit overextended, and there's also potential for Bitcoin to kind of do some consolidation and sideways and even go down a little bit. When I say Bitcoin going down a little bit, you can talk about like 10, 20, 25%. So I can see that Mara could potentially bounce around here, but so far there's pretty much steady increase in demand. And if you look at the Black Cat Fund here, you can also see there's a very nice divergence where price has just kind of gone sideways over the last 3 or 4 months, but you have significant amount of whale inflow over the last couple months or so. And last time when you see something like that, and I keep showing you this chart, like I just want to beat it into your brain, I guess. Last time you see something like that, where you have price just kind of consolidating for like months number 1, 2, 3, and 4 right around here, which I think is very similar to what we're seeing over here. But it consolidated for 1, 2, 3, and guess what the whales are doing? They've been buying over here. So as the increase in buying pressure for the whales, price went sideways. If anything, kind of went down a little bit. Guess what happens when things break out? It gets pretty powerful. You want powerful breakouts. And again, this was a little bit of a bull flag over here. You can also see this could potentially be a little bit of a bull flag over here, although the pull is getting a little bit, small for the flag. But the idea is that there's consolidation, and if with consolidation like this, most likely there's going to be trend continuation. And guess what the trend continuation is going to be? It's going to be bullish because it's been forming higher highs and higher lows, higher high, higher low, higher high, and it's just kind of put in a higher low recently. So there's a potential for it to continue to break out. I don't think it necessarily has to correct much further. If it does, it's probably going to keep doing some bouncy around this range, maybe along with the wedge as it goes up. But so far, like with institution buying like this, and with basically not showing any kind of sign of exhaustion, because it's not way above the upper Bollinger Band like CleanSpark. This is just within an upper Bollinger Band. It's pretty nice. It's on the upper part of the upper Bollinger Band. It's building a very, very nice bullish trend, which is looking more healthy than anything else. I like this. Now, if you close up the Bollinger Band, if you also look at the Ichimoku cloud, you can see the bullish cross has happened, right? Last month in February, the Tenkan initially served as resistance, has now served as support this month. The Kijun, which is a lagging behind kind of line, cross underneath the Tenkan. So you have a bullish Tenkan Kijun cross over here, and the Kijun also has served as support. Initially as resistance flipped as support. This is a very nice technical look because you're flipping things that initially was serving as resistance, and now they're serving as support, and they're not that far away from where price is. So price could potentially go a lot higher to drag these indicators as support up together with it, without having me to be that worried about any significant correction. I like this. Now, does it mean that I'm right? No. I mean, it could also bounce back and go down further. It can do whatever it wants to do. I don't predict the future. I just tell you the trend. But so far, it's looking pretty nice. All these price action over here has been looking very constructive, even though it's been lagging behind Bitcoin. But again, it's been trying to eat all these supply up here. Once it's done eating the supply, it can go pretty strong. But it's still working on its own technicals. There's an Ichimoku cloud right above here. Around right now the Ichimoku cloud bottom is around 41.9. So there's a potential once it breaks out, you can just go straight up to the cloud. And I expect to find a little bit of resistance up here because there is also some price history up here, some volume shelf over here, and I suspect that it could potentially find some resistance here. But the cloud is pretty thin. Once it breaks above the cloud, there's also a little bit of volume shelf up here around the 50s, and but its volume shelf is not that strong. If it breaks above the cloud and it breaks above this tiny volume shelf up here, you're talking about price exploration phase, and it can go up pretty quickly. Really, maybe towards the back half of 2024 is what I'm suspecting might happen, but there's no guarantee. I do think that if the small cap IWM Russell 2000 index, if that is to break out over the next month or two, I do think that most likely could drag Mara up along with it, and it can potentially push it above the cloud to test the volume shelf level up in the 50s. That's a possibility because of how strong it's been consolidating, because how well the technicals are, because there's not really any overextension or anything that I'm worried about here with Mara. So we'll see what happens. Let's look at a weekly, shall we? The weekly of the Ichimoku cloud is shown here. As you can see, it's got a very nice ascending triangle look to it. Sustained supply being eaten up by all these wicks, and also a very, very nice increase in demand. You can see that as the price went down here over these couple of weeks, the volume also went down. Price went up. Looks like volume is also picking up a little bit. Price went up over here on increased volume. All these are very, very nice things to see. These are very, very healthy things for you to see here. The weekly Tenkan and Kijin is just kind of hugging price. Initially, it served, Kijin kind of price broke down below Kijin right here, formed a little bit of a tweezer bottom and bounced back above of it. It's not surprising that that happens, and now it looks like the Kijin now is flipped back into support. But the Tenkan above is still serving a little bit of resistance. How strong is the resistance? Is the Tenkan above at the red line above? Not very because it's pointing up. I think there's a good chance that it could break back above. And there's also a pretty strong volume shelf over here that price has already spent a couple months, being shuffling around here. So I think once price breaks above of that, it's going to get pretty powerful. It could go up potentially at the high 40s to 50 once it does that. It's just not doing that quite just yet, but it looks like it wants to. The other thing, again, I just want to show you a little bit closer look. Higher high, higher. Maybe like the equal low. I don't know, but technically, I wouldn't consider this a low. It's just flat. I think it's a higher low here, higher high, higher low, higher high on this wick, and higher low down here on the tweezer bottom. So this is a very nice bull trend as it goes all the way from like $3 all the way to, really like in the 20s. So can you expect some consolidation here? Sure. I mean, this has already outperformed Bitcoin when it counted from the cycle bottom to where we are now. So do you think that it would consolidate here? Sure, I think that's fine. But once it breaks out, I think there's a lot of energy that's being built up here. Now, the other thing I also want to show you in addition to the Ichimoku cloud is the bull market support band. This is also another reason why I like this look so much, is because it bounced perfectly off of the bull market support band and is bouncing up from it. It's a very, very nice positive trending bull market support band. Most likely it's going to continue to push the price up higher. It's not like Clean Spark where it's just way above the bull market support band and could potentially go down to like 14 or something like that to find support. But right now, Mara just already back tested it, and it looks like it's probably going to use as push a momentum to complete this ascending triangle, push price above this ascending triangle, above this relative shelf, and keep pushing price up higher. I like the way it looks, and in general, if you also look at the weekly trends, also got a very, very nice flip already of the 20 over 50 and 50 over 100. Now you got a very, very nice bull trend. 100 is starting to flatten and actually started up curling a little bit here. 50 is going up, 20 is going up. It's a very, very nice bull trend that just started really, back in January of this year. I think it'll probably keep going up higher. It can be potentially going on for longer and more irrational than you can expect. And we'll see what happens. I can be completely wrong. None of this stuff is guaranteed. And you also have a lot of support levels down below. It could potentially make a lower low. And that's a little bit of a conundrum here, because technically, if it makes a low low here, if price end up falling below, let's say, like 14.62, if it falls below that, then it'll be like, it's making a low low, causing the bull market support band to kind of, starting to flatten, things like that. I'll be a little bit, be like, okay, but so far it's not really showing any of those kind of concerns. Now, the other thing also to look for momentum and see whether or not there's any exhaustion. On the monthly, there's no exhaustion. On the monthly, there's not really any like bearish divergence here that I can see on RSI. On the weekly, you did develop a little bit of a bearish divergence here, where price just kind of went flat up here, and you have RSI really kind of dropping down here, right? So you already had this bearish divergence, but guess what? The bearish divergence has already kind of worked out. You already have price kind of went down here. Guess what I'm seeing now? I actually see more of a little bit of a kind of like a hidden bullish divergence going on here, where price kind of went up here, but RSI kind of reset down here a little bit. And this is a little bit of a bullish divergence that's starting to play out. And again, this is actually not a bad thing, because it went up all the way up here, and right now RSI got reset. RSI is still about 50. So this is still very much, like a bullish type trend here that we're seeing. I'm really not that concerned about this. Sometimes you're just going to have some RSI being reset here before bullish continuation. I think that's what we're doing. And on this kind of hidden divergence over here, hidden bullish divergence over here, I think there's room for price to go up a lot higher. And the monthly is also showing that too. So I'm not really too worried about it. One thing I was surprised by, I started calling really like, about a month and a half ago, like looking here, I was like, yeah, people are gonna see resistance here. People are gonna end up start calling it double top here. Nobody on Twitter or X ended up doing that. I guess it was just my imagination. I figured I would talk a lot more about it, but not many people really do. Um, anyway, I don't believe that this is a double top because you have to have confirmation. Like it's not even to the neckline of a double top, so that's not something I'm worried about. Anyway, it's been over 15 minutes. I'm just going to leave that as originally I was going to talk about Bitfarms too, but I'm going to talk about that on a separate video. Thank you for listening. Have a good one. Bye.